What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you want to bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Dudes Who Bet Sports Show. Glad to have you with us on a dreary Thursday, I guess afternoon now in Missouri. God, this sucks.
This is bad. We
I'm
both
freezing.
got our buddies on. Got the furnace going. It's winter in Southwest Missouri, that's for sure.
We have not turned on the heater just yet. We're still trying to hold out. But told Heather, I said, turn on a light. It's dark in here. I was like in the dark a minute ago. It's still not very bright. And I don't know, you probably can't see outside, but it is raining and nasty. So it's a good day to cuddle up and watch the Dudes Who Bet Sports Show, right?
Well, I don't know about the cuddling up part, but it's a good day. Good day to watch. And, you know, Saturday, I looked at the forecast down in Norman, and it's 70, I think, for Saturday afternoon, which is great. And, you know, I got to thinking, Aaron, of all the games we've been to, and we've been to a bunch, very seldom have we ever been just frozen, you know, really cold. It seems like they're always pretty nice weather.
Especially in Norman. I can only think of a couple where it's been real cold and a couple where it's been really rainy. Other than that, not so bad. Big 12 championship games when they used to be played in Kansas City.
Oh, those were brutal.
Those were a different story than what you're talking about here. But yeah, you're right. I mean, we've had some luck. It doesn't get cold down in Norman until the very end of that season.
Yeah,
so,
I remember one time we went, it's been, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. They played Oklahoma State, maybe a little longer. And it rained. Remember that day? We got pretty wet that day. But
Heather and I went to a game against Kansas, of all teams, and they had to delay the game. It was storming so bad, and it rained the entire game. That was the worst one I've ever been to in Norman. Other than that, you're right. Not too bad.
No.
And like I said, we were getting lucky. Weather's going to be perfect. A Saturday afternoon game. That's a rarity in Norman. Usually we're at 11 in the morning or 7 at night. So we'll get to all college action first. And I didn't even change my name. It was Kansas. I forgot to change that. I'm in a tizzy today because Breeders' Cup pre-entries were out yesterday. So the work has begun on that. But this will be a nice little distraction for me. Let's get into the NFL. We're going to start with the NFL first today. And then we'll get to the college football ranks. I started with the NFL for this reason right here. The biggest game of the week is going to take place tonight as the Green Bay Packers travel to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Cardinals still the only undefeated team left at 7-0. The Packers are 6-1. They've won 6 in a row after a loss to open the season that everybody was panicked on. New Orleans just killed them. But since then, 6 wins in a row for the Packers. Unfortunately, if you're a Packer fan or supporter, COVID problems, big thing. Devontae Adams doesn't look like he's going to play. That's why this line is at 6.5. I'll kick it to you. Arizona 6.5 point favorite. Given what we know, is that about right, you think?
Boy, I don't know. I really don't.
I was the same way.
Yeah, they got another receiver out too.
Yep.
Lazard. So they got 2 weapons that are out. So it really makes picking this game difficult. I kind of looked at some things about the Packers, and I started looking at their schedule that they've played. You know, other than the Bengals, they've played nobody. You know, they've won 6 in a row. Here's their teams. They beat Detroit. They haven't won a game.
Right.
San Francisco, who's struggling, and they beat them late. Pittsburgh, which is always a good win, but they're not as good as usual. They don't have a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Cincinnati, but some would argue they should have lost that game.
Yep.
The Bears and the Redskins. So they've won the games they should, and that's what good teams do. The Cardinals, meanwhile, have played better people. They really have. They've played some pretty good teams. The Cardinals have. The Cardinals organization is not used to being 7-0. They're really not. Green Bay plays these games all the time. The Packers are kind of like the Cowboys. They're kind of like Tampa. They're kind of like
New England.
Good teams, And so they're everywhere they go, they're going to get the other team's best shot. This is nothing to them.
Yeah.
The law of averages, if you believe in that, and I kind of do, is it time for the Cardinals to lose? I think all of us are sitting around waiting for the Cardinals to lose. And maybe they might be too. I'm just kind of thinking that. And I have no reason to think that because they've played great. They've answered every test. I think the line's too high. I don't like that line very much. 6.5. I just don't. I don't know. I'm going to take Green Bay plus the points. I just think Aaron Rodgers finds a way to keep that game close. I think the Cardinals might win, but I don't know the line. I'm a little afraid of it.
I think the question is, are you going to bet the uniform in this game, or are you going to bet the stats and the information presented in front of you? And sometimes the uniform is the right answer, and sometimes the other way is the right answer. You hit on everything I was going to say, so I don't need that. You did. I mean, you talked about how, is Arizona sitting there thinking, gosh, we're going to lose eventually, and now here come the Packers. It's a big game, big stage. We're going to lose. I'm going to be different. If Dennis chimes in, he took the Packers in this game. I'm going to be different. I'm going to take Arizona minus the 6.5. I just believe we can sit here and we can say, and hello to you, Jason, we could say, hey, Arizona, man, it's a first big test and this and that. It's really not their first.
Oh, it's not.
A lot of people were against them when they went to Cleveland. Everybody seemed to be against them when they went to to LA to take on the Rams. I'm going to take the Cardinals minus 6.5. I think they get it done. So I'm going to be a little different from everybody so far here. And I'm going to take the Cardinals. And listen, I'm usually very pessimistic for my teams.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get it done tonight. So I'm going to take Arizona minus the 6.5. I think it's going to be a great game.
I think it totally makes sense to take them.
I'm going to go with the analytics and the injury report over the uniform. And I think that's where it's at.
Well, I think you're absolutely justified in taking them.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for them. I'll tell you that. I'm kind of looking forward to this tonight. I mean, we've had some terrible Thursday night games, but this should be a good one. I kind of wish Green Bay was healthy because it would really be.
That's just it. I was kind of struggling who to take, but the injuries pointed me towards Green Bay. They've been a big factor. They've been a big factor in these games we've picked the last couple of weeks. All right.
One other thing, Aaron, that line opened at like 3.5.
Yes. Yeah.
And the injuries have caused it to go up. Hey, Isaac, good to see you.
Yeah, Isaac chimes in here with a comment. He thinks it's going to be an interesting game tonight, and we'll see. Right. I think it will be too, Isaac. I think we're going to have a lot of fun watching this one. And listen, this is another game where the Cardinals win it. They're halfway home. Man. And then Jason's going to lean with me because these Packers injuries are going to be tough to overcome. I don't know. I will see. Chris
It'll be a fun game to watch.
Chris says, have to pick Green Bay. Aaron always likes a challenge. That's right. I do. So glad that you're listening today, Chris.
Yeah, good to see you.
And we'll move on. So we'll go to the Panthers and the Falcons. You got any comments or thoughts on this one? Atlanta's a 3-point favorite in this game. They kind of seem to be trending upward, and the Panthers obviously downward. Any thoughts, comments, or should we just go on?
I never even looked at it. I see the line's 3. I'd take the Falcons.
I think you can find better games to bet. And that's all I'll say about that one. Dolphins and Buffalo. Buffalo, 14-point favorite. Another huge spread. I mean, is there anything to kind of cover here?
No, not really, unless you think the spread's too much. But I don't see how that's even a game. But
another one. You can find better ones. What about this one? This is, to me, for a betting standpoint, this is really interesting. San Francisco, they look terrible. Mm-hmm. Chicago, they look terrible. San Francisco's a 4-point favorite on the road against Chicago. I don't know about this one either.
That San Francisco team I saw the other night should not be a 4-point favorite, I don't think.
No.
But the Bears were awful too. So this is a game between two not very good teams. I think I'm gonna bury the 49ers already. I think they're done. I really do. They're so far behind in the division.
Yeah.
I don't even see them getting wild. They're going to have to really go on a roll to get in the chance for a wild card.
Yeah.
Bears are 3-4. They could get to 4-4. They still got Detroit a couple times.
Yeah.
I think they got more to play for. I would take the Bears in this one.
I'm with you. I'm with Dennis. I wrote down Bears and no bet, and I'm kind of with you. I don't want to sit there and have to count on the Bears. But
Right.
if you made me bet this game,
Yeah.
I would take points. If San Francisco was a 4-point underdog, I would take them.
Yeah.
I would just take the team that's getting the points. So and all these games that I've kind of bypassed, I don't have a team total bet either. And that's kind of been my bread and butter the last couple of weeks. None of them really appealed to me. This one here is a huge game. There's no question about it. The Steelers go to Cleveland. Cleveland is a 3.5-point favorite. Steelers are 3-3. Cleveland's 4-3. We kind of talked about it on Monday night's show that, boy, the winner here looking good. The loser not so much. Gosh, this is one I went Pittsburgh over 20.5 points. But as far as the line, like, what do you think here, Cleveland or Pittsburgh?
Well, if you guys have read my betting or my articles now, we kind of we've changed a little bit. Dennis is partially responsible for this. And we're doing different betting angles. And the three we're looking at are over under, and then total team points for one or the other, and then the spread. And I don't like any of them. I really don't. I like yours, what you picked, probably the best.
Yeah.
But I just don't. And the problem with this game is we don't know how many of the Browns' injured players are going to play for sure. Mayfield says he's going to play, but they haven't solidified that yet. Chubb is practicing some, so big factor if he plays. And Landry got nicked up there towards the end of the game, whatever night that was. But he seems to be practicing. Now, if all three of those play, now here's the key, though. They may all play, but are they healthy?
Yeah. Well, Chubb is out. He's not.
Oh, he's out now. He
is participating in practice on a limited basis again, which is a good sign. But he is going to be out for this game. Yeah,
Well, here's the thing too. We saw Mayfield play with the injury, and he was not the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you just can't think that's going to heal that fast.
It's not.
I took. I'm trying to think what I took. I don't know why, but I think Cleveland might win. But I took Pittsburgh and the points because Cleveland's 3.5. I think if they win, it's 21-20, something like that, 23-21 or something. I don't think they win by 4.
Yeah, I don't either. If I had to pick a side, I would go Pittsburgh plus the 3.5.
Yeah.
It's another game or tradition, and it's kind of
that's another thing I looked up, Aaron. Since 2000, Pittsburgh is 36-6-1 against the Browns.
Yep.
I think two of those were last year, I think.
The Browns have beat them 2 times in a row. They beat them last game of the season, and then they beat them in the first round of the playoffs. And so it's kind of a revenge game for Pittsburgh as well. Dennis likes the under. He thinks both teams can kind of run the ball, control the clock. So he took the under. And Isaac likes the Steelers to win this. And, another interesting game here between these two teams, Steelers and the Browns. It should be close. I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus the 3.5. But the main bet's going to be the team total over 20.5 for Pittsburgh. I think they hit the over there. All right, let's move on. And we're going to cover this one, even though it's not the sexiest of games. Philadelphia Eagles go on the road to take on the Detroit Lions this weekend. The Eagles are a 3.5-point favorite. I am all over the Lions plus 3.5. I think the Lions get win number 1. And if they don't, I do think they cover this spread. What do you think?
I am too. But, sometimes when you see these bad teams, they play up to their competition, or down to their competition. The Lions have played really well against pretty good teams. Now, this is a team that's struggling. They're capable of winning this. They got to be ready, don't you think? As ready as an 0-7 team can get. I'm going Lions too. I think they're going to win this one.
I think they're laying for them. They have to be, because here's the deal. If they, I know you laugh, it's like they're 0-7. Come on.
Yeah.
But you look at how hard they've played in the last few games. Really, every game they've played hard. I shouldn't say the last few. Now they get a team that they can actually beat and match up with. Yep. I think the Lions get this win. I don't think it's much of a problem. I really believe they'll win this game easily, because you've got another team. You've got the team in Philadelphia coming in who's given up on the season. I mean,
I think so.
No effort last week, and so I'm going to go with the Lions here, and we'll see what happens. Lions get their first win. Jason says, "Yay, Magic!" That's right. Joey Aguirre says the Lions suck, and DeAndre Swift is their only player. You're not wrong.
No,
but the Eagles also suck. So.
Do you know? I was listening to something talk radio yesterday. Jared Goff's in the top 5, I believe, in quarterback.
Like rating or passing numbers or what?
Number of yards.
Number of yards, no passing yards.
So they got more than one player.
Yeah,
he's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think.
Yeah,
I definitely think Jared Goff. I mean, he's not what they lost. I mean, I think I'd rather have Matt Stafford, but he's not a terrible NFL quarterback. This is an interesting, did they play up? Basically, Dennis says last week, and now they might be down, after playing really well against the Rams. That's possible.
That's possible, no doubt.
That is very possible. And as Isaac says, the Lions play hard, and I think they will. They've got a pretty good shot.
That is the key. That's the key.
You got to play hard. All right, we'll move on here. The Titans and the Colts. The big game, really big game. Colts are playing a hell of a lot better right now. So much so that they're a 1.5-point favorite against the Titans, who are also playing really well. They do have that bad loss to New York, but if you take that out of the equation, the Titans look damn good. They've looked really good the last 2 weeks. My bet here is the Titans over 23.5 total points. But here we are, another one. What do you think? Titans, Indianapolis, who you taking?
This is a huge game, and I should have wrote an article on this. I should have, after I finished last night. I was going to this morning. It was too cold. I just didn't want to do it. Indy has to win this game. And if they do, they're kind of back in the hunt in the division. They'll only be a game behind. And they've still got wild card hopes too. And they have played a very difficult schedule. So they could win this. It's a 1.5 right now. I like Tennessee. The other thing to look at, though, this is the third straight tough game for the Titans. They had the Bills and then the Chiefs, both games at home, both games they really needed to win, and they did. Will they have a little bit of letdown going into Indianapolis? I don't like the line. I'm going to stay away from that. I would take the Titans on the point spread. The line I like, Indianapolis is 26.5 points to score. I would go under on that. I think it's going to be hard for them to score 26.5.
I'm kind of with you, on that one. I was really surprised 26.5, but I don't know why, because they're the favorite, and Tennessee's is only 23.5. So
I would think it would be the other way around myself. But
and so if I'm sitting here logically saying I think Titans are going to get over 23.5, and I think the Colts are going under 26.5, well, pretty logical who I'm going to take if it's a point spread situation. I'm taking the Titans plus the 1.5. Jason, you could be right. That's the biggest worry for me. Are they just too high here? And then Joey says the Colts should be 4-3, but they choked versus the Ravens. Yeah, I mean, the Colts have been in a lot of games.
Joey said, wanted me to, he said,
no, I'm getting to that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dennis took the tits. Don't we all? Dennis took the tits morning line or morning line. Geez, I've been
Dennis. I tell you,
line.
the more I get to know Dennis, the more I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He speaks our language. There's no question about that. So
yeah.
Dan says the Colts win. Dan's a very good NFL bettor. So better look out for the Colts. If he's saying that, I officially am worried. We'll take a small break, and then before we get back to the NFL here, we will get to college here in a second.
You want to just wait until we get to college on that? Okay,
I'm going to put a pin in that, Joey.
Yeah.
We
won't forget it.
About 10 minutes, we'll get to the college, and I will scroll back up to that. All right, let's move on. This is a game that you probably would have thought would have been a dog, but the Bengals are pretty good. So the Bengals go to New York to take on the Jets. They're a 10.5-point favorite in this game. Jets they're just bad. I don't know. What do you think here? This isn't.
Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Are they going to have a letdown?
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a huge win for them in Baltimore last week. And these NFL teams, they don't stay focused as well as you would think they would. You know, one little many years ago, I was coaching basketball at a school that only played basketball. And I was with the girls' coach down there, great coach. Had never played football. He was from this little town, but anyway, he knew a lot about it. And he made a comment one time that stuck with me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I don't understand how football teams can ever be flat." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "They only play one game a week. It's almost always on the same day. They have the same practice routine day after day, week after week." And you know what? He's right.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, you play Tuesdays, you play Thursdays, you play Fridays, you play Saturdays, you may play back to back. You don't have time to prepare for teams. Football, you do the same damn thing every week. How can teams be totally flat? How can you not get them ready? Well, it's called human nature.
Yeah.
That's part of it. So it's really interesting how these teams can't stay at that high level.
So
that would be the only reason to pick a
Here's my theory on why. Football is such an emotionally driven sport, such a physical sport, that even if you're like just a smidge flat, it looks worse than what it is. Like, think of a basketball team. They come out a little bit flat. They get behind and maybe, 10-2, 12-4, something like that. It's easier to kind of turn that switch in basketball, make a couple shots, and you're right back into it. And you're kind of into it. With football, it's just tougher to turn that tide when you come out flat, I think. But
he was just going by the one game a week, and he just couldn't figure out.
Well, he makes a good point. Yeah, you got 10 or 11, games a year to come out and play hard. You think you could do that, but they can't.
And Dennis has got he's got the Jets plus 10.
Well, here's my problem. I don't hate the bet, but my problem with, okay, I'm going to take the Jets. Then you're stuck for 3 hours watching the Jets, rooting for the Jets, having to count on the Jets.
Good point.
It's a skip for me. That's but Dennis has this angle. He says season-defining win, and Bengals can come out flat. But Dennis does this every week, and he's successful almost every week. He is. Yeah. When a team wins a huge game that next week, Dennis is always against them, and he almost always cashes. So I'm sorry, Dennis, that it's your pattern, but now you have to root for the Jets. So so we'll see what happens. And Jason says, no, don't watch it. You just bet it. And then look at your score. All these double-digit favorites has covered this year. Can't sustain that. Hold my nose and take the Jets, Jason says. So all right. So we'll see what happens with that one. I'm not going. No, I have a Cincinnati Bengals over 27.5 points. That's what I took. So I'm not expecting much of a letdown.
If they get that, they're going to win by more than 10, I think.
Well, yeah. So maybe everybody's against my bet there on that. The Rams go to the Texans. I mean, there's nothing to talk about here. The Rams should absolutely dominate, right?
Well, yeah, but again, same angle. So
here's a difference. Well, there's really no difference.
Texans are so bad.
Yeah, I think the Jets, even though they're bad, the Texans are a level of bad that I don't think we can comprehend. Like, they're super bad. I went Rams over 30.5 points here.
Yeah, the Texans are just they're just torn apart by this quarterback situation, through the whole year. And I'd feel pretty confident about the Rams.
Yeah, I do too. And I refuse to play the Jets, Russ says, and I also refuse to play the Texans. So I'll just play team totals and skip the lines on any of those games. I think this one's interesting. The Patriots got a big win last week. They're playing pretty well, even though they're 3-4. Boy, they had some games they want to have back. They almost won them. But they have a tough challenge. The Chargers coming off a bye and coming off a game where they just got smoked. They're at home. They're a 5-point favorite. What do you think of this one?
This is another tough one. New England, you're right. They could easily be 5-2. They gave away a couple of games. We don't know what you know how we are with the Chargers, you and I. I like them. I think Herbert's great. Just can't depend on him. 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
They should cover that. They should. But I don't know. I'd hate to bet against the Patriots in 5 points.
I went back and forth about this. I think the Chargers will cover. My main thing is I think the Patriots go over 20.5 in this game. That was my main bet. I was a little scared to bet a line here, but I do think the Patriots go over 20.5. These Charger games have been high scoring, and the Chargers really can't stop the run. And I think the Patriots will run the ball well enough to get over that. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, I like it. I think, 28, 24, something like that, probably, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think, and Dennis took the over. He thinks it's going to be a lot of points, and I agree with that as well. This is one angle. Tyrod is going to play for the Texans. That could make a big difference.
Yeah,
and Dan's right. You don't think he sucks? Well, Dan says, hey, the Texans were playing well week 1, and he was playing well in Cleveland before injury. So maybe that makes a little bit of difference. If you hear my dog is dreaming in the background, so if you hear a dog barking, it's my dog in her sleep. Chargers have fixed their run D on the bye week. I should say better have fixed the run D on the bye week. Yeah, they're pathetic against the run. So we'll see what happens. All right, this is the marquee game of the week, right?
Oh,
Jacksonville back from their bye. They go to take on Seattle. Seattle's a 3-point favorite. I'm not going to bet this game. I wrote down skip. I'll take the Jags +3 in this game, though.
That's who you're taking?
I'm going to take the Jags +3. Listen, I don't know why, but I've had bets involved with Jacksonville almost every week. I've watched Jacksonville every week. I'm telling you, they're getting better. The last 3 or 4 weeks, they've played well, I'll even say. They've made some stupid coaching decisions, or they could have won another game, and I would even argue another one. I think they go in and beat Seattle this week.
There you go.
What do you think? That's a stupid thing. I can tell.
No, I don't. Seattle's done. They're done. We can put a fork in them. They're done. So what kind of motivation are they going to have? I don't know. So, I see your logic.
The only thing that scares me about the Jacksonville is I don't know if they like Urban Meyer or not. The media the media hates him.
Yeah, they hate him. We don't know what the players think.
Right.
I don't think he's ever had a player problem where he's coached before when he had good players. Do you?
No, he never had a player problem. No. That's the only question mark. Will the Jags, because it's a long trip to Seattle, will they show up ready? But if they do, I'm telling you, you guys might think I'm crazy. I've watched a lot of them for some dumb reason. They're not awful. They really aren't.
No, they're not. And their quarterback is going to get better every time he takes the field. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah, Urban said everyone gets a lap dance if they win. That could be motivation, and I bet
they're getting those anyway, Jason.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
Dennis says the cons are more focused on AEW. Could be. That could be, but they do not play the game or coach the game, so I don't think that matters. All right, let's move on to this other beautiful game here.
Oh.
The Washington football team goes to Denver to take on the Broncos. Broncos are a 3-point favorite. I wrote skip real big and letters on this one.
Yeah, these games like this, I don't even look at. 3-point favorite. They are awful.
Yeah.
Denver is.
Yeah.
Washington is too.
Yeah.
So why would you? No, let's go on to the next one.
Yeah, I don't think you need to play this one. This is a good one, though. Tampa Bay, 6-1. They go on the road this week to take on New Orleans, 4-2. New Orleans gave them a lot of trouble in the regular season last year. Of course, that was last year. Tampa Bay, a 5.5-point favorite. Who do you like here?
Well, I like Tampa. I don't know about the 5.5. It's coming down. It's been higher than that. So it's getting a little better.
Yeah.
The Saints are going to play good in New Orleans. This is a tremendously big game. Look at these records here. You got Tampa 6-1, Saints 4-2. They're in the same division. New Orleans win, and suddenly we've got a race in the NFC South. You got a great offense going up against a pretty good defense. But again, I kind of looked at some of the teams the Saints have played, and offensively, they've not been very good. These teams that the Saints have played they're not very good. I like Tampa a lot. I think they're going to be ready to play. Let me see what I wrote down here on this one. I think Tampa gets over 27.5. That's what I like. And I'm going to go ahead and just bet. I'm going to bet the point spread, and I'm going to take Tampa in the point. I think they're going to cover.
You're going Tampa, and you're going over. I'm going to go with the Saints to go over 22.5. And I'm going to take Tampa in the points, though. I think it's going to be something like 38-28, some kind of score like that. I just think Tampa, when they lost to New Orleans last year, they weren't quite the Tampa that won the Super Bowl. They got better and better, and they haven't looked back since. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Tampa minus 5.5. But I do think New Orleans goes over that 22.5 point total. Let's see here. Lay it with Brady. Jameis will fold trying to do too much late. That's possible.
I like that, Russ.
Yep.
Not a Jameis fan.
Dennis, no, I'm not either. Dennis says, division rivalry. I think this is a one-possession game. I didn't play at all, but I think New Orleans can cover. Brady scores late to win. That could be. I think it will be close. I think it'll be a good game. All right, Cowboys go on the road this week after a bye. They're a 1.5 point favorite this weekend at Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Vikings playing much better. This is a Sunday night game. I think it deserves to be. This is a hell of a game. What do you think here?
Huge game again, not for Dallas.
Yeah.
Dallas already has the Division 1, in my opinion. They'll have to just totally collapse. 1.5 favorite. Okay, I'm a huge Dallas fan right now. I am. I love to watch them play. I think their offense is as good as I've seen in a while.
Yep.
The receivers, Prescott's playing great. They run the ball. They're hard to stop. So, thing I like in this one that I would bet, Minnesota's 26.5. I would bet that under. I'd bet Minnesota under, and I think Dallas is going to win, so I'll take Dallas and the 1.5 too.
It's like Russ is ready for a little Vikings game, and Jason says, God, I hope the Vikings win. I think you guys are going to be happy Sunday night. I think the Vikings win this thing. I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think it's going to be back and forth. I'll take the Vikings to win this one. I think Dallas is kind of due for a loss, but more than anything, I just think Minnesota is playing much better football as the weeks go on. I'm not going to be shocked if the Cowboys win, but I'm going to go Minnesota in the money line. I'm not even going to mess with the points. I think they win this thing outright. By the way, this opened as a 3-point spread, now down to 1.5. So people seem to be betting Minnesota there early, and so now that line has been adjusted. So we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, but I'm going to take Minnesota straight up in this one. All right, Isaac, he's been asking about his team. The Kansas City Chiefs. We're here. And so
are we going to cover this now, or are we going to get into it a lot more on Monday?
Well, we're going to cover it now, then we'll cover it on Monday as well, just in case anybody misses the show on Monday. The Chiefs are a 9.5 point favorite. They host the awful New York Giants this week. Like I said, Chiefs 9.5 point favorite. Isaac says, what do you think of this Chiefs defense? Can they get back into it? What do you think of the Chiefs overall here? Can they get a win here? I'm surely they're going to win this game, right?
Well, if they don't win this one, Isaac, then you can put away the season pretty much. Has there ever been a more must game than this one?
No.
They have to win this game. They have to. If they can't beat them by the point spread, there's some problems. Their defense will not. No, I don't think their defense is going to get any better. And I think they'll have to score probably in the 30s to win, as poor as their defense is. They got to win this game. They have to. So I think I would go ahead and take the spread there in the Chiefs, but I wouldn't bet much on it because they hardly ever cover.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think they will cover. Logic says they will, but they look really, really bad. They do hardly ever cover. And Isaac says, hey, they have to win. And you're right. Now,
go ahead.
Because I think, listen, they're going to win this game, right?
I think so.
But let's get to this. The Chiefs are plus 175 to miss the playoffs. And then Isaac asked a little bit earlier, will the Chiefs make the playoffs? Let's assume they win. They're sitting at 4-4. Are the Chiefs going to make the playoffs?
I think the chances wild card wise are starting to dwindle a little bit on them. So that means we got to look and see, are they going to win the division? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, do you have any doubt that they still, if they get some things ironed out, they're still the best team in the division, aren't they? Aren't they? I mean, are you that sold on the Raiders?
I'm not sold on the Raiders. I would be worried about the Chargers.
Well, the Chargers have a game on them because they beat them head to head. But Kansas City,
the next game is in Los Angeles. They beat them on the road. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah. And I started to say the next game's in San Diego.
Yeah.
You and I can't get past that. I mean, that's the San Diego Chargers to me, and it will be.
Yeah.
I never could get used to saying the Los Angeles Raiders.
Right.
I'm feeling a little bit better with them being in Las Vegas. Yeah. But if they can get it rolling, I just think the Chargers will end up losing 6 games. I'm going to throw out there. Mm-hmm. Maybe 7. Same with the Raiders. Chiefs still got to play the Raiders twice, so they can take care of the Raiders. They beat them. If they win this game, and they're back in it as far with the Raiders goes, because they can beat them twice. So I think the wild card is questionable, because there may be a team come through there that's better than them, wild card wise. A couple of teams. I think they're going to have to win the division. I really do, to make the playoffs, but I think they can still do it.
This is interesting. So Magic said he'd take the plus 175. Super Bowl losing teams have horrible track record of returning the next year. It's so true.
It is true.
And sometimes there's a reason for that. Like they have injuries or maybe they lost some guys. There's no reason the Chiefs should be struggling. But here we are. It's holding up again. Even if the Chiefs kind of round back into form and get to the playoffs, they still aren't anywhere near what they were last year. So it's an amazing trend that continues to hold true. Unbelievable, right?
Well, it's the turnovers. They've got to quit turning the ball over.
Yep.
You're minus 10 in turnover margin. You're not going to win. And unless you got a Superman, and they've got one, but he's not super. He's Clark Kent. He's not Superman right now.
I was going to say he's Ant-Man right now. Or
he's just
one of the dumb Avengers.
He's just average right now, and he can't play average and then win. He can't.
No, he can't. He's got to play great, and we'll talk about another quarterback. He's got to play great when we get into college. But Mahomes the same. He's got to play great, or they're going to get beat.
Right.
That's just all there is to it. Their defense is not going to come around. When we've seen too much of it. All right, let's move on to college football. We'll get on to this now. We'll go through the top 25 games this weekend. Much better week as far as, what's the word? Intriguing matchups, big-time matchups, even though last week provided us some fun games. This week, we'll kick it off. I can't believe this. I don't know. You may rant right here. There's a game tonight, Thursday night game. Troy goes to Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina lost last week, and they're still in the top 25. I don't know how. They're a 17-point favorite tonight against Troy. Have you looked at this game at all, or should we just go on?
I haven't really looked at it at all. I see the line is 17. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go over. I think they're going to win by more than 17.
Okay, yeah. I don't care about this one really.
No, I don't know.
I clicked on top 25. I'm like, really? They're still ranked? Why? It just shows you that. I mean, do you still have them ranked in your 25?
They're number 25.
Okay, well, you can't rant then. You've got them too. All right, we'll kick it off with Oklahoma. Oklahoma, 19.5-point favorite this weekend against Texas Tech. I'm going to go pull up Joey's comment. You can talk about it after you give us the pick here. What do you think is going to happen in Norman this weekend?
Same thing happens every week. They're going to Texas Tech's going to go up and down the field on them, and Oklahoma's going to have to outscore them. Maybe get a break or two to get a 2-touchdown lead. Bet 19.5 at your own risk. I sure wouldn't. And after some of the comments I've heard from the coaches this week about the defense, I wouldn't even hesitate to bet Texas Tech in the points.
So it's Texas Tech has fired their coach. So a new coach, Sonny Cumbie, takes over, offensive coordinator, now the head coach. Probably doesn't change a whole lot.
I don't think so. No.
I don't know how you bet OU minus 19.5 ever against anybody. The Texas Tech team total is 24.5. I'm going to go over that. I do think OU scores in this game. If they don't, they're going to get beat. It's that simple.
Well, I think so too.
Caleb Williams and this offense will have to play excellent for OU to win this game. I think they will, because I think this defense is atrocious of Texas Tech. But I think Tech gives them all kinds of trouble. So by the tone of how we're talking about this one, we're both taking Texas Tech minus 19.5, or plus, 19.5. But by the tone, you could probably guess what Papa Dude's coming here. But Joey says, Papa, you think Caleb Williams can take us to the Natty?
No chance.
No.
You got to. One guy is not going to take you to the national championship.
No.
And I'm going to tell you something, Joey. He wasn't in it. He was not very good last week.
No.
I don't care what anybody's talking about. He was not very good last week. There are many, many teams that would have beat the crap out of Oklahoma last week. In the first half, he was as bad as Spencer Rattler ever was. Yep. And people are losing track of that. And if you listen real closely to Lincoln Riley, and you know coach speak, and you can read between the lines, and I'm not knocking Caleb Williams, because he for a true freshman is unbelievable.
Yep.
But he's not playing at the level that Oklahoma needs him to play.
Yeah. In
these upcoming games. He's just not. So he's still missing plays, but he should be. He's a true freshman, so we can't expect him to do that. How many times is Oklahoma going to win a game when you take the ball away from a running back who's dead stopped?
Yep.
Never seen it in my life, and get a first down. How many times is that going to happen? 0. It'll never happen again. So they got so many problems. They're going to have to get straightened out. And when you hear former players talking about this defense and how inept they are and how they don't know what they're doing, these players don't. And then you hear these coaches saying that they're not practicing hard. There's problems.
Yep.
There's problems. And then I'm hearing some of the seniors come out and say, yeah, we're not practicing very hard. We're going to have to start practicing hard. What kind of crap is that?
I don't know.
It's unreal. I've never heard anything like this in all the years I've ever followed Oklahoma football. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I think leadership is a big problem with this team. It's starting to show itself. And the problem is I think the leaders are all young. Like Caleb Williams is kind of the leader of the team. He's a true freshman.
Yeah, and I'm not knocking Caleb Williams. I mean, he's been phenomenal.
He saved the season.
He has, no doubt.
And as we go, we're starting to realize it wasn't a Spencer Rattler problem as much as it's an OU problem, right?
It is.
So I think that's the biggest problem. It's just you have to be elite to carry this team to victories as a quarterback, because they're so bad everywhere else. I think he's capable, and I think he kind of is capable of pulling us through, but it's a lot to put on the shoulders of a true freshman. OU's losing somewhere. I don't think it'll be this week, but he'll have to play great. If he doesn't play well, they will get beat in this game.
Well, even if he plays well, they're going to have to start playing better on defense. Get through these last 3 games. They're not.
It may not cost them.
They're not going to Baylor and winning.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. Yeah. Russ has a question. Where's Hazelwood been? Well, Russ, he scores 3 touchdowns one week and he's gone the next. Marvin Mims plays the best game I've ever seen a wide receiver play against Texas. He's nowhere to be found the next 2 weeks. I have no idea what they're doing at wide receiver. It's week to week. It's a schizophrenic team as far as that goes. You just have no idea. What you guys said on Monday about the culture needing to change makes more and more sense as you keep talking about OU. Yeah.
No doubt.
It seems like a lot of individuals and not a lot of team down at OU right now. So we'll see. Squeaky bum time every week for those guys, Jason says, and it will be again Saturday. I guarantee it. So we'll see what happens. I do think they win, but it's going to be a barn burner. All right, let's move on. Cincinnati, they squeaked by, squeaking a squeaky bums. They squeaked by Navy last week by a touchdown. They go to Tulane, 26-point favorite. Cincinnati is over Tulane. I think Tulane's kind of done. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. Kind of a tough line though. 26 points. That's hard to cover on the road. Cincinnati's starting to feel a little pressure, I think. Yeah. They've not been in this kind of position. I'm a little scared of the line. I think they win easy, but 26, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's iffy. I think there's better games to bet on. If you make me pick it, I will pick Cincinnati. But, the line's going to come down to luck, basically, on that one. All right, let's head on to East Lansing, Michigan, for my opinion, the game of the week. Undefeated Michigan, 7-0, ranked number 6 in the country. They're a 4-point favorite at their arch rival Michigan State, who is number 8 in the country and number 7-0. Big-time game in the Big Ten. Who you got here?
I think that aren't you a little surprised the line is -4?
Yeah, I'm shocked.
Yeah, I am. Man, this is going to be a heck of a game. Going to be a slugfest, I think. I think two teams going at one another. They hate each other. This is a good one. So, I wrote down a lot of stuff here. Michigan, 27.5. I can't see them scoring that much.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely would bet Michigan under on that. Michigan State 23.5. That one, I don't think I'm not sure they'll score that much either.
Yeah.
The line the point spread I stayed away from. I'm going to go the over under at 50.5. I'm going to go under. I think this is going to be a low scoring game. I'm thinking 21-17, something like this. 24-21, maybe. Yeah. I think it's going to be a heck of a game.
I do too, and I'm with you. I would take the under total of 50.5 on this game. I'd go under that. And if you made me take the point spread, I would take Michigan State getting points. I view this kind of like I viewed Iowa State, kind of like I viewed Iowa State, Oklahoma State. Going to be a hell of a game, going to be close. Give me the team that's getting the points. And at home, Michigan State, I got it at 4.5. It's now down to 4. But I'll take Michigan State. A lot of Michigan State support on here. Go green, go white, according to Magic. Sparty, Russ is with them as well. F. Harbaugh, go Sparty. And then Dennis says, did either of you think Michigan or Michigan State?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I did.
You thought Michigan would be, right?
I got made fun of too in my preseason top 25. I didn't think they'd be this good. I think I had them 17.
Yeah.
But I thought with their schedule, they had a shot. Michigan State, no. Yeah. No way did I think they would be. They are a total surprise to everybody.
Well, Dennis, both are a total surprise to me, but Papa Dude did say Michigan will be good this year, and here they are with a chance to go 8-0 and probably get into the top 5 with a win here. So big time game. That's going to be a fun one. 11 a.m. kick. I hate that. I wish it was a night game, but
we can listen to it.
That's true. We'll be listening to that on the way down to the OU game. All right, let's move on to another pretty big game in the Big Ten. It's not quite as sexy, but it's a big game over on that other side of the conference. Iowa coming off a loss to Purdue and then a bye week. They're 6-1. They're still ranked in the top 10. They go to Wisconsin, 4-3. They got a win over that Purdue team that beat Iowa. That Wisconsin beat Purdue last week. 3.5-point favorite are the Badgers. What do you think here?
This is impossible to assess too.
Yep.
I mean, two teams that struggle mightily on offense. The over-under is 36.5. That might be about right.
It's low.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, you got an Iowa team that they just don't score much against anybody.
Yeah.
So, you can't expect them to score much. Wisconsin seems to be getting a little bit better. They scored 30 on Purdue last week. At Purdue, I don't know if there's some turnovers involved or not. I went with Iowa's team score is 16.5.
Mm-hmm.
You almost have to try not to score 17 points in college football. I think, to me, that was the safest bet. So I took them to go over the 16.5. And I think they're going to win. I really do. I don't know why, but I kind of think they're going to pull this one out.
I think
if they don't, I think their season's going to be tanked. I really do.
But I think it makes sense. They're going to bounce back. It's off a bye. I'm going to take Iowa plus 3.5. I look at it the same way I look at the Michigan State game. It's going to be a slugfest. Give me the team that's getting points, and Iowa's getting them. So I'm going to take Iowa plus 3.5. I think both games will be pretty similar. Both games at 11 a.m. Another one that we will be able to listen to on the way down. Next one, another 11 a.m. game. Texas, they've lost a couple in a row after being back for the 80th time, and clearly they're not. They go on the road this week to take on number 16 Baylor, who's 6-1, only lost came at Oklahoma State. Baylor, a 3-point favorite here against the Longhorns. It's another big-time game in the Big 12, especially for Baylor. What do you think?
I found nothing to bet on this game. I just didn't feel comfortable with anything in this one, really. I'm from the old school where Texas always beat up on other Texas schools. Hadn't been that way in the last few years, Used to back in the old days, Texas would go in against another Texas school that was pretty good, and they would beat them every time. You can't really play that line anymore. Baylor is getting production from their quarterback. He's playing really well. They got a running back that's good. They've always got receivers. And their defense is pretty good. They're 3-point favorites. It's just so hard for me to bet against Texas in these kind of games. Baylor, if they win, still got a really good shot at the Big 12 championship because they haven't played Oklahoma yet. And they've got them not next week because Oklahoma has a bye, but in 2 weeks, they have a win over one of the other challengers, which is Iowa State. Now, Oklahoma State has beat them, so that could throw a monkey wrench into things. I just don't have a pick, Aaron. I looked at the team totals, and I could see that happening. The over-under, I see that happening. It could be high scoring. If I had to bet anything, I would bet under the over-under.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be as high scoring as people think. 61.5 is a lot, and Baylor is really not a high-powered offense. Texas has been at times. I'm leaning towards Baylor minus the 3 here. I don't know. It's such a toss-up game, but I'm with you. I thought the team totals were a little weird. Let me ask
you this: as an OU fan, are you rooting for Texas?
No,
you're not.
No, no, I'm not. I'm rooting for Baylor.
I am.
Why?
Well, Texas is pretty much out of the Big 12 championship. Picture. We got to go to Baylor in a couple of weeks. I don't want to go down there with Baylor being 7-1. I'd rather be going down there with their 6-2 and with 2 losses in the conference. That's my angle.
Well, I see your point there. You kind of stop the momentum of Baylor, but
yes.
I mean, damn, eventually we have to go play a good team, I mean, it's not going to happen that all these teams.
That's why I'm trying to get all of the angles I can, see.
Eventually, we have to go play somebody decent and beat them. So.
Yeah, I want to go play a wounded animal rather than one that's fully healthy.
Yeah,
I'd rather go play the wounded one. So,
well, I'm still going to take Baylor -3. I think I don't know. Texas, I don't know. I
Well,
don't
it'll be funny if they lose because they'll be 4-4. They still haven't played Iowa State. That could be a loss. Would not be hilarious?
Yeah, that would be funny. That would be very funny, but also kind of sad that they had us beat and should have beat us, and it took a miracle to beat them. So,
Yeah.
two ways to look at that. All right, let's
It's a
go.
miracle to beat Kansas.
Well, that's also true. Maybe
And isn't
even
it
more of
funny?
a miracle.
One other thing, it's so funny, we hear all this crap about Sooner Magic. Well, you won't hear anything about this game against Kansas being Sooner Magic when that was the most Sooner Magic I think I've ever seen.
I agree.
But it was so embarrassing that they can't mention that.
Right. Yeah, that won't go on the highlight reel. That's for sure.
Right.
All right. Let's move on. Pittsburgh, they're starting to build a case here. They're 6-1.
Mhm.
They're up to number 17. They've got a great shot to win the ACC, in my opinion. 9-point favorite this week against a Miami team who's not very good.
Nope.
So, what do you think about this one?
Will they have a letdown after they beat Clemson? That might be something to look at here. And even though Clemson's not very good, they're still the king. They were the king in the ACC, and a win over them is big time. So will they have a letdown? And will they start feeling pressure? Because they're not in this position very often. So that's two things to look at on the line. If it was in Miami, I definitely would take Miami in the points. But I think Pittsburgh's for real. They've got a great quarterback. Miami got a big win last week. Can they parlay that into another great effort? I don't know. I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I will too. I'm going to take Pittsburgh -9. I hate Miami. I just don't think they're very good. So I think Pittsburgh -9 here makes a lot of sense. All right, let's move on. Iowa State, they got a big win, but now they go on the road, to face a tricky, not very good, but it's tricky when you go up there, West Virginia team. Iowa State is 7-point favorite here on the road at West Virginia. Huge game for the Cyclones. Where are you leaning here?
This is dangerous for Iowa State. Very dangerous. Coming off a huge win over Oklahoma State. They're back in the hunt, in the Big 12. They always get better under Matt Campbell. Play well at the end of the year. West Virginia coming off a big win last week, one that a lot of people didn't think they'd get. Thumped TCU. Thumped them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not awful. We saw them. They're not terrible. They're not bad. This one is one Iowa State better watch. 7 points. I think I would take West Virginia in the points, but I think Iowa State's going to win.
I'm with you. I took West Virginia plus the 7. I just don't have confidence in Iowa State winning games any more than about 7 points. So I'll stick with that angle and take West Virginia plus the 7. We'll go on. Biggest game of the year so far for Georgia coming up here. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Georgia and Florida meet up in Jacksonville every year. This year, the Dogs are a 14-point favorite over the Gators. I don't know. That's a lot of points in a rivalry game. What do you think of this one?
Well, I don't think Florida's very good. I really don't. I other than the fact it's a rivalry game and crazy things happen sometimes in these games, I don't give Florida much of a chance. Do you?
I don't give them any chance to win. I do give them somewhat of a chance to maybe cover this.
I think some crazy things are going to have to happen for them to cover it. Like Georgia's going to have to give them some points somewhere along the line. Definitely, I looked a lot at the over-under at 51. And I think because I looked it up, and in Georgia's last three games, the over-under has been below 51.
Yep.
Because the other team can't score.
Yep.
Florida's a little better offensively, I think, than those teams they've played, maybe. But they run the ball a lot. How the hell are you going to run the ball on Georgia? No one has figured that out yet. So I would take the over-under, and I'd take the under at 51, and I would bet Georgia to beat them by more than 14 if I was betting.
That's what I took as well. I took under 51 total points here. I just don't think you're going to see a lot of points scored in this game. I believe this is possible. Jason says Georgia by 13, backdoor cover from Florida. It has that kind of feel, right? Rivalry game. I don't think Florida's going to quit. I think they're going to keep pushing. So I could see it. Yeah, which Florida quarterback shows up? Sometimes they get production, sometimes they don't.
It doesn't matter.
I would be very worried to go up against Georgia with no quarterback. I would put it that way, or with a quarterback that's inconsistent.
I'd be kind of worried to go up against them with a quarterback.
That's my nightmare. Somehow OU gets in the playoff and has to play Georgia.
Don't worry about that.
Well, I stay up at night worrying about it. Dennis says, besides Baylor, West Virginia has been within one possession of every loss they've had. Right. At OU, they were going down to win, and they snapped the ball over the quarterback's head, or they would have won that game. So
Sooner Magic.
That's right. That's right. Russ is taking Georgia. How about this? Look at Florida team total 16.5. Georgia hasn't allowed 16 points in any game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking the under total 51.5, but I don't think that's a bad bet either.
No.
Obviously, I think that's good. So at 16.5, Florida going under there. Take a look at that. I agree with Dennis on that comment. All right, let's move on. We don't have to talk about this one. The Oregon will take care of Colorado this week. I put Colorado under 10.5 on the team total because they're just awful offensively.
They are.
Wake Forest and Duke. I put Wake Forest over 21.5 team total for the first half.
That's Duke, pretty good. Yeah.
Boy, Duke's bad. Duke is so bad defensively.
Mm-hmm.
I think they rack up the points. Not a lot to talk about on that one either. Here's one we need to discuss. So Ole Miss, number 10 in the country, 6-1. Only loss came to Alabama. Goes to Auburn, number 18 at 5-2. Their two losses aren't too bad either. It came to Georgia and Penn State. Auburn, a 2.5-point favorite here. What do you think? Tigers or the Rebels?
This is going to be a tremendous game, I think.
Yep.
Both of them still have a shot at the SEC West.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn a better shot than Ole Miss simply because Auburn still has a chance to beat Alabama. And if Auburn can stay with one loss and then beat Alabama, they're still in the hunt. Ole Miss lost to Alabama, so that really hurts them. The Crimson Tide would have to lose another game.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, which could happen if Auburn beat them, and then there's Ole Miss. So
yeah,
the implications in the SEC West are huge in this game. The loser's in trouble for sure. The winner still has a shot. Bigger chance for Auburn because of the head-to-head situation. Great game coming up. Tremendous rivalries. I mean, these SEC teams don't like each other. I took the over-under again, and I'm going to go under the 66. And the reason is I looked it up, and all the SEC games that these two teams have played, except one, and that was the Mississippi-Auburn game, the total combined point totals in all the SEC games that these teams have played have not reached 66. So, and if you've noticed the last couple of weeks, Ole Miss is not scoring like they have. They got 31 against Tennessee and 31 last week against, who the heck was it? LSU. So they're not scoring like they did. And Auburn's not an offensive machine. So I like the under 66 in this one. Who do I think is going to win? I don't think Auburn's that good. But I don't know that Mississippi thinks they can go beat them. Yeah. But I'm going to take the Rebels to upset level.
I'm going to make the same bet of under 66. I don't think it gets there. I will take – gosh, I was back and forth on this one. The line now down to 2.5. I'll take Auburn. I think Auburn gets it done. And Russ will hate that pick because he says Ole Miss money line. Auburn is a fraud. So I don't know. I'll take Auburn. I think they're going to get it done at home. I'm still not sold on Ole Miss. I think they might be a fraud too a little bit.
They might. They probably both are.
Yeah, they both kind of have been exposed when they play the elite type teams. And Jay says, don't bet it. Half dozen White Claws, sit back and enjoy the fireworks. Well,
yeah.
I could be talked into that. No question about it. Gosh, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game. I went back and forth on that one, but in the end, I will take Auburn. All right, let's move on to the next one. I think this has upset written all over it here, or at least the possibility of an upset. Kentucky 6-1, coming off a bye after losing to Georgia. They go on the road to take on Mississippi State. 4-3. They're not great, but pretty tough at home. Kentucky just a 1.5-point favorite here. Where are you leaning in this one?
Well, this is another game where you've got a team that's not used to being 6-1.
Yep.
And they got a chance to have a tremendous season for Kentucky. 10 wins at Kentucky is, that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
These are the games you have to win if you're going to win 10 games. You got to win these.
Yep.
Mississippi State is not bad. I hope Kentucky wins. I'm really rooting for them. I think Mississippi State's going to upset them.
Yeah, this is we talked about this with Kentucky. It's like, okay, you played Georgia tough. You really did. But now can you go and win a game like this? This is the big challenge. These are the games that get you to that 10-win mark, which is the next step they're trying to take.
Yeah.
I'm going to take them. I think Kentucky gets it done here. I really do.
I think my butt off for them, I'll tell you for sure.
I think they've grown up enough to get the job done. I think the safest bet. What's that?
They're pretty good.
I think quarterback-wise, they're good enough. I think the safest bet is to go over this 47 line, total, total, period. Over the 47, I think that'll happen. I think there's going to be some points in this game. So that'd be my first bet. Kentucky would be my second one. All right, let's go to Stillwater real quick. We talked about this. Kansas played the game of their life last week. Can they get up again? They go on the road to take on Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's still undefeated, 30.5-point favorite for Oklahoma State. What do you think?
I think they beat that easy. Everybody else has, except the number of whatever they are team in the nation.
Yep. My lock of the week is Oklahoma State minus 30.5. So we'll get to that when we get to the top five. Another big game at SMU. They're 7-0. They're undefeated. They got a tough challenge here at 6-1 Houston. This is even. It's a pick'em game here. Does SMU get the job done in Houston?
Well, I watched both teams a lot last week. SMU played Tulane. Was that on like a Friday night? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I got to watch the match. Very impressed with SMU last week against Houston or against Tulane. Then I watched Houston late Saturday night. It was late because of a weather delay. And I had Houston to cover 13.5, which they didn't. So I'm kind of biased this week because they really made me mad. I wasn't very impressed with them offensively, though. And early in the week, Houston was a 1-point favorite in this game. And there's still a book or two in Vegas where you can get them at 1 point. I think SMU's going to win easy. I really do. And both of us took SMU's team score, and we went over the 30.5.
Yep, I think that's the best bet, over 30.5. I think it's going to be a wide open shootout type of game. But in the end, I do think SMU gets over that 30.5. As far as who wins, who loses, gosh, I think SMU's better. I think I'm going to go SMU to win this game.
And Aaron, a lot of people are saying that the SMU coach, Sonny Dykes, is a lock at Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Why would he leave SMU and go to Texas Tech?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't SMU going into the Big 12?
SMU, supposedly, yes.
Okay. They're in a power conference. I think you can win easier at SMU than Texas Tech.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I would say at SMU.
Hey, definitely. You're in that Dallas area. You've got it going.
Yeah.
And you can still get these Oklahoma transfers to come down there and be stars because they're not good enough to play at this wonderful team.
I would stay right there at SMU if I was him for sure. But we'll see. We'll see. Money might have a lot to do with it as well.
That's true.
All right, I'm gonna kick it to you, and I gotta go let this dog out going crazy. But I'll be back before you're done. I promise. So, Penn State.
You want me to do this last two?
Do what?
You want me to do this Penn State and?
No, I'll introduce Penn State. You talk, and I'll be back before you're done. I promise.
Okay.
All right. Penn State goes on the road this week after an upset loss against Illinois. They go on the road this week to take on Ohio State. Ohio State's got it rolling. They're an 18.5-point favorite. Does Penn State make this competitive is the big question.
Well, they are Penn State, and they play extremely well on the defensive end. Question is, can they have enough offense to make it close and keep Ohio State's offense off the field as much. That's the whole thing. I have no doubt that Penn State's going to come in mad. They're going to play good. Can they score enough? I don't think so. So Ohio State hasn't really played anybody during this stretch where they've been rolling up a lot of points. Now, Penn State can play defense, there's no doubt. 18.5, that's a lot of points to cover against a good defensive team that could slow them down. So I think Ohio State wins pretty easy. I'm not sure on that 18.5, though.
I agree with everything you said, as I didn't listen to a word of it. I'll take Ohio State at minus 18.5 here. I think Penn State is kind of done.
You think they're going to cover that?
I do. I'm really, really high on Ohio State right now. So that's where that is with me. Yeah, I do think they cover it. And God, Penn State could not have looked any worse.
Well, that's true.
I think Ohio State's the type of team that can score on anybody. And I think Penn State, even though I don't think the Ohio State defense is kind of weak, I don't think the Penn State offense is good enough to hang with them. So I'm going to go Ohio State minus 18.5.
What do you think about this one? Penn State's team total is 20.5. You think they get there?
They might get 21. I could see it like 42-21. Dennis says, hey, 18.5 is a lot. Russ says Penn State comfortably. That is really surprising.
Well, I think we're going to be a little surprised at Ohio State. I'm not sure they're quite as good offensively as we think.
Well, and maybe I've blown them up a little too much. But I've seen this type of team before that loses one early, and they come back. And I just think, I don't know. I just think they're going to play really, really well in here. All right, let's move on. North Carolina and Notre Dame. This is your lock of the week. Notre Dame only a 3.5-point favorite. So give us your thoughts on that one.
I don't understand this line. I don't understand it. North Carolina is not very good. They're not very good. And they've lost to some pretty bad teams, North Carolina has. And they're coming into South Bend. Somebody, please, that's on the chat, explain to me why it's only 3.5, because I don't know.
Yeah.
This just jumped out at me when I saw, when I go through these lines on Sunday or late Sunday night, some of them don't come out till later. And I saw that, I looked at it about 15 times before I thought, wow. And it hasn't changed either.
Mm-mm.
I don't get it. I think they win by 20, maybe.
North Carolina has just been such an overrated team all year. And now they're going to go to South Bend and play them within a field goal. I don't think so.
I don't either.
I'm going Notre Dame all day. Minus 3.5. I'd probably take him at minus 7.5. I might take him at minus 10.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ricky chimes in. Hello, Ricky. Ricky chimes in and says, seems like the high total, 62.5. Notre Dame doesn't score much. What do you think about that? 62.5 does seem like a lot of points.
No, North Carolina does score.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to. No, I think that's too high. I do.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm looking 31-17, something like that.
Yeah, Vegas is begging for action on North Carolina. I know this is like our weird line of the week, right?
Yeah.
Last week was the Raiders in Philadelphia. But the thing is, to kind of combat Ricky's point or rebut Ricky's point, is North Carolina can score.
They can.
And they also give up a ton of points. So
they do.
I still think 62.5 is a little bit large. I think Notre Dame will be able to slow them down enough. So,
yeah.
All right. You have any thoughts on Virginia at BYU? BYU back in the top 25 after a couple wins. 2.5-point favorite here. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, look at there. Virginia's 6-2.
Yeah, I know it.
How many people in the country know that? They do have 2 conference losses, which really hurts them in the ACC. I think BYU bounces. They won last week. I think they're going to win. 2.5. I think they cover that pretty easy.
I'm with you. I think they bounce back. I've watched a lot of Virginia. It's like I don't think they're great.
No.
I'm going to go BYU here. All right. Final one, Fresno State goes on the road to take on San Diego State. San Diego State's still undefeated up to number 21. They're a 1-point favorite here against Fresno State. This is going to be a hell of a game, I think. I think the line's about right. I think it's going to be really, really close. What did you go with here?
Well, when you look at the two team schedules, it's not even close comparing them. Mm-hmm. Fresno has played a decent UCLA team and Oregon, which is top 10 team, I believe. Got beat by a touchdown. They beat UCLA. San Diego State's best win is over Air Force, which is a good team, but it's not. I think UCLA probably could beat Air Force. I think Oregon could probably beat Air Force. I think the bubble comes off for San Diego State. They're going to drop out of the undefeated ranks. I think Fresno's going to win.
Yeah, I could see it happening. This is one. I went team total 23.5 for San Diego State. I think they get over that. I think they give up a lot of points in this game. I think it's a higher scoring game than that 44.5 total suggests. So I don't know. I think it's going to be 1 or 2 points one way or the other. I think it's going to come down to like a field goal. I'll go San Diego State just to be different, but I do think 23.5 over for San Diego State team total. I think that's a pretty good bet.
I'll tell you this. If they win this game, they suddenly have a great chance to go undefeated because that's to me, Fresno State's the best team they're going to play in the Mountain West.
Yeah.
They still have Nevada, which is pretty good, but they come there. And they've got Boise, but they come there. The other dangerous game for San Diego State is a trip to Hawaii, which is always a tough trip because of the distractions when you get to Hawaii.
Yeah, that'll be the tough one for them for sure. But I don't know. I think San Diego State's better than what people think. I know a lot of people here are like, oh, they're the worst undefeated team, and they might be, but. And I'm with Dennis here. His worry is Fresno State hasn't looked the same since that UCLA game. They haven't really played that well the last couple of weeks. I agree. Right. So we'll see. It's gonna be
last week though. That's a good win.
Oh, that was a good win last week, no doubt. And we'll see. I think this is going to be a very tight game, and I do think San Diego State gets over that 23.5 mark. All right. Let's move on to the last thing we'll do each week. It is the top 5. I'll go ahead and put yours up there now. You're 18-12 on the year. I had another good week last week. All right, go over your 5 there.
Well, I think we've talked about almost all of them. We'll do this real quick. I think Notre Dame covers easy. That's my lock of the week. 6-2 now in locks of the week. Clemson. No, we didn't talk about this one, I don't think. Look how... Again, I don't get it. Their point total is 27.5. Their total team point total, 27.5.
Yep.
They haven't done that all year, except against one team, and that was a South Carolina State, which is an FCS school. So I've got them under 27.5 against Florida State, a team that's getting better. They're playing better. SMU over 30.5. I've got the under on Mississippi Auburn. And then I've got the under in the Michigan State game. I'm pretty confident about 3 of those. Not real confident in the other 2.
Well, I think it's a pretty good list. I really do. I think the Notre Dame game makes a lot of sense. Clemson, obviously.
Well, what really concerns me is I usually do point spreads, and now look what I'm doing. What you do?
Well, and you've been having success, so that's your fault.
So why am I doing this? I don't know, but I didn't really like very many of the point spreads this week.
I thought the point spreads were very tricky this week. And by the way, I have a shitty record still, but followed the last 2 weeks since we went to these team totals. It's turned around, so let's hope we can keep it going here. So I went Oklahoma State minus 30.5 as the number 1 pick. I think Kansas comes back to reality. And I think Oklahoma State will be ready to play, which is something that they did not face last week in Oklahoma. Over for the Rams team total of 30.5. Over for Cincinnati, 27.5. The Titans over 23.5. And I'm with you. I think SMU goes over 30.5. So there you go. There's my 5 there. and we'll see if we can get 4 or 5 more winners like last week. That was fun. That was a lot more fun than it had been for me.
I think your goal is to get to 500.
Well,
I
think I can do it.
You go 4-1 this week, you're at 16-19.
Yeah.
4-1 the next week, you got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get ahead of myself. We're going to take it 1 week at a time.
Well, yeah, that's what you have to do. One game at a time.
Yeah, one game exactly. One game at a time. One game at a time. All right,
Is Magic still there?
We'll see. We're sending out a feeler for Magic if he's there.
He wanted to have a rant. I've got one, but I'll make it quick. I promise, because I know you guys are swamped.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Let me read a couple comments here. So, got around looking forward to all the Beaters Cup stuff next week, Russ. Yes, we are definitely putting that together now, working on that together now. So, be ready for that. It's definitely coming. All right. I don't know if Magic is here or not, but go ahead with your rant.
He can watch it later.
Yeah.
My rant is I'm very upset about something.
Okay.
This blasting these guys up in space.
Okay.
Is bothering me a lot.
Okay.
Because I don't know why the hell they're doing it. What's gained by this except you spending a fortune on this stuff, right?
Right.
Am I missing something?
It's space tourism is what it is.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they're calling it. Like, it's just the experience of going up in space. It's like 5 minutes.
How about you take this money and give it to St. Jude's Hospital? It's a bunch of millionaires doing nothing, as far as my concern. And then all this crap on William Shatner getting to go up in space and how wonderful that is. Do people not realize William Shatner played a character who went up into space? Is that what this? I mean, okay, he's an actor,
right?
I don't give 2 shits that William Shatner got to go up into space. That's my rant. Maybe Magic can put that on at the end. Maybe he'll disagree with me. I just don't get it. All of this, people are going hungry in this country,
right?
Have you been anywhere where the homeless are all over the damn place?
Right.
We got these billionaires, whatever the hell they are, blasting their ass up into space.
Yeah.
Why don't you give your money to something that you can help people instead of patting yourself on the back? I mean, it's your damn money. You can do what you want to with it. But
I mean, I've heard about this, and I did see where he went into space, and everybody was making a big deal about it. So it's interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Have you not thought about it?
Have I not thought about going into space?
No. How big a waste of money this is.
No, I haven't given it a lot of
thought. Would you go up in space? Hell, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. If it was $5, I wouldn't go. No.
I got other things that thrill me a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah. Now, this would be good. The answer is this. Dennis says, does Papa Dude have a Twitter? The answer is no.
Maybe I need one.
I really think he needs one. Dennis, you know the type of people, I'll say, that's on there. He would have a field day with some of these guys that hide behind their keyboards. It would be pretty darn funny if he had one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would get calls. Can you believe this guy? He's like, yeah, I've known this guy forever.
Well,
this is what
I was watching something the day this happened, and it's been a week or two ago. And I was so pissed off I couldn't already sleep the rest of the day because I'm thinking, I don't give a shit that William Shatner got to go up in space. I don't care. I mean, he's 90 years old. I think he should be celebrating that. I guess the fact that he got up there and didn't die in space is pretty cool.
I guess I'm with you. It's like it didn't bother me, but it was definitely
okay. No one's agreeing with me, so
no, I don't feel like anybody's with you on this space rant.
No, I just think it's stupid, and also I think it's kind of downgrading to NASA.
Well, I think NASA never really looked at it as like I wonder if these rich people would like to be shot into space for 5 minutes and then come straight down. They put that to the table and like, no, there's no way somebody's going to pay for that.
I mean, is NASA building the rockets?
No.
Well, that's a downgrade of NASA. Hell, anybody can build a rocket, evidently.
Oh, I guess they're not building it. I thought
it was a great thing that we were building rockets and shooting up to the moon and all that. And NASA was the greatest thing ever. Obviously, anybody can build one.
There you go. Yeah, it is interesting. Here you go. There you go. Jason says he agrees. Turning NASA into the postal service.
I'm so old that I can remember when they were shooting these rockets off, and it was the biggest deal ever. And at school, we'd go watch the rockets blast the whole damn school. I'd go down to the auditorium and watch the blast offs. And I'm thinking to myself, poor old NASA. Yeah. I thought they were the greatest things ever. Now anybody can do it.
Those were the days.
Maybe the racing dudes need to start blasting off into space.
Maybe we should. Yeah, maybe we should.
Okay, that's it. I'm done.
All right. Well, moral of the story: do not blast off into space. But if we can help you with your sports bets, this is the place to be. to bet sports.
Hey, we try to have fun on here.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I heard Howard Stern talking about the space thing. Actually,
did he think it was dumb?
He thought it was ridiculous. Yeah.
All right. Me and Howard are a lot alike. Well, let me rephrase that.
And he thought specifically the William Shatner thing was really ridiculous. How the media was covering it.
Yes. He's a character. He's a character. He's not real.
He's not an astronaut. He's not a
Star
space
Trek
man.
was fiction, science fiction.
Right. Well.
Isaac, thanks for all the nice comments, buddy. You're one of my favorites, and you know that.
Yep. Isaac says congrats to Mike and you guys. Thanks for all you do. Yeah. Isaac was the manager on the basketball team at Circoxie.
The best ever, by the way.
Yeah, he was. I saw him I only went to a few games. I always see him on the bench. Very good supporter of Circoxie. So thank you, Isaac, for coming in and watching today.
We'll see you Monday night, Isaac.
Yeah, that's right. Monday night we will be back.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
To segue this. So that'll do it for us today. Thank you guys for joining us. You guys had a lot more comments today, a lot more going on as we got a big weekend of college football. So I want to thank everybody for showing up again today. And like I said, we'll be right back on Monday night, recapping everything that happened this week. And then also it is Thursday, which means Magic Mike Show coming up soon. They'll come up in about 3 hours, and then Bleakers Off also just a little bit after that. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Breeders' Cup pre-entry talk going on those two shows. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. I'll tell you what, I'm going to play this video one more time to end the show. And that'll be our outro music once again today. So thanks, everybody, and we'll see you right back here on Monday.
Thanks, guys.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Dudes Who Bet Sports.
So you want to bet sports, but you need some advice on how to cash in big at a heck of a price. Well, if you want enough money to line your shorts, then you're in the right place. This is Dudes Who Bet Sports. Dudes Who Bet Sports, it's your favorite show. Dudes Who Bet Sports, where degenerates go. Dudes Who Bet Sports, time to change your approach with Aaron Halterman and his father, the coach. Let's ride.
Well, the Associated Press is full of shit.